Hello students, welcome back to the English vlog. I hope that you must have already gone through the previous video and understood part 1 and part 2 of the chapter properly. So now, here in this video, we are going to move forward with the explanation of part 3 and part 4. But before we move forward, let's just have a quick revision of what we have learned in the previous video. So we have learned that the narrator of the story, that means the author of the story, Michael Morpurgo, he goes to a junk shop and purchased a roll-top desk which was in a bad condition. The narrator started its repairing on Christmas Eve and finds a letter in its drawer. The letter was kept in a black small tin box to which a note was attached at the top. From the note he came to know that it was received by Connie Macpherson from her husband Jim Macpherson. The letter was written by Jim Macpherson to his wife Connie Macpherson. After reading the letter, he finds out that Jim Macpherson was the leader of the England army, and he described that Britishers and Germans were engaged in a war. But on the Christmas morning, a wonderful thing happened. First, Germans wishes Happy Christmas to British soldiers. At first, British soldiers were doubtful because they thought that it was a kind of trick. But later they understood that it was not a trick. They genuinely wanted to celebrate Christmas with them. So they also went along and celebrated Christmas with Germans just like they were their friends. All the soldiers came together. The leaders also shared their ideas and feelings with each other and celebrated Christmas peacefully and happily. They drank, they ate, they laughed and talked just like they were each other's friends. They also played a football match and thought that it was a really good way of solving a war. But we know that in real life it is not possible. A war happens in a very destructive manner and it takes away so many good things from our lives. So, in the football match that was played by Britishers and Germans, obviously the Germans won. At night, both the troops sang carols and had a peaceful Christmas. So from the letter we come to know that soldiers from both the army, they wanted peace. They didn't want this fight, this destruction to happen. They also wanted to return back to their homes and wanted to live a normal life again. And so Jim Macpherson was also thoughtful and he was positive enough that probably the war would end up soon and he would return back to his home again and spend the rest of his life with his wife happily. Now, what happens in the third part, we'll read now. We'll understand it now. Now, we came to know that the author obviously read this letter. Now, what did he do after that? We'll see it in the third part. I folded the letter again and slipped it carefully back into its envelope. I kept awake all night. So, after the narrator read the letter, he again kept it back to where it was found from. But he was awake all night. He was not able to understand that what he should do about the letter. By the morning, he was very clear that what he had to do. So, what had he planned? What did he thought of doing? He thought of going to Connie Macpherson and return her husband's letter to her. So, I drove into Bridport, just a few miles away. I asked a boy walking his dog where Copper Beeches was. So, obviously on the letter there was a particular address given and from that address he came to know that Connie Macpherson was living in Bridport. So, he drove over there, he went to Bridport, okay, and over there he found a boy walking with a dog. So, he asked this boy that where Copper Beeches was. And from that he found out house number 12. But when he went there, he saw that the house was completely burned out. Okay, the house was completely burned. The roof was gone. The windows were really in a very bad condition. He knocked at the house next door and asked if anyone knew the whereabouts of Mrs. Macpherson. So now what did he do? As he found that Connie Macpherson's house was completely burnt, he thought that he would rather ask a neighbor about her. So, this could be connected with the roll-top desk that the author received in the junk shop. Obviously, Mrs. Macpherson's house was completely burnt. So, therefore, the firemen would have just took away all the things that was burned from her house and given it in the junk shop. So this is how the narrator must have found the roll top desk from the junk shop, and the letter which was found in the roll top desk was also belonging to Mrs. Macpherson, because it was Mrs. Macpherson's only before the fire caught up her house. So she must only have kept that particular letter in that roll top desk. Everybody understood? Now, from the neighbor, the narrator gets to know various things about Mrs. Macpherson. "Oh yes," said the old man in his slippers. "He knew her well. A lovely old lady, he told me. A bit muddle-headed, but at her age she was entitled to be. Wasn't she 101 years old?" So her neighbor tells narrator that, first of all, the neighbor was an old man. He was wearing slippers and he knew her well. So he told narrator that she was a lovely old lady, but a little bit muddle-headed. Muddle-headed means she was a confused lady. Why confused? And he thought that obviously because of her age she was entitled to be that much confused, because she was of 101 years old. Her age was 101 years. So obviously at this particular age someone could be confused. She had been in the house when it caught fire. No one really knew how the fire had started, but it could well have been candles. So the neighbor told that when she was in the house, when the house caught fire, she was in the house itself. Okay, no one really knew, means nobody knew that how this fire started, but they are assuming that it started because of the candles. She used candles rather than electricity because she always thought electricity was too expensive. The fireman had got her out just in time. She was in a nursing home now, he told me, Burlington House on the Dorchester Road on the other side of the town. So the neighbor again tells the narrator that why candles, why they thought that the particular house was, the house caught fire because of the candles, because she was using candles. She was not using electricity often because she thought that electricity was too expensive. So it was fortunate enough that the fireman just came in time and he saved her, and now she was in a nursing home which was in Burlington House on the Dorchester Road on the other side of the town. Now the narrator got all this information, so now he thought that he would go and visit Connie Macpherson in the nursing home. So this was part 3. Now we'll begin with part 4. Again, comprehension check. You can read the question and try to answer it out. Now in the part 4, I found Burlington House nursing home easily enough. There were paper chains up in the hallway and a lighted Christmas tree stood in the corner with a lopsided angel on top. So Burlington House was easy to be found by the narrator. He quickly goes there and he finds out the nursing home. Over there he sees that the nursing home was very nicely decorated. It was bright and lighted up, and it was really a happy atmosphere over there because it was a Christmas day. Okay, he also said that the hallway was decorated with paper chains and there was a Christmas tree and an angel was placed on the top of it. I said I was a friend come to visit Mrs. Macpherson to bring her a Christmas present. So he told the person over there, the authority over there, that he was Mrs. Macpherson's friend and he had come to visit her on this Christmas day because he wanted to give her a Christmas present. I could see through into the dining room where everyone was wearing a paper hat and singing. So the narrator could easily see that people were all present in the dining room. They were wearing a paper hat and they were singing happily and enjoying their Christmas day. The matron had a hat on too and seemed happy enough to see me. Matron means obviously the person over there who is responsible for taking care of the patients. She even offered me a mince pie. She walked me along the corridor. Mrs. Macpherson is not in with the others, she told me. She is rather confused today, so we thought it best if she had a good rest. So the matron informed the narrator that she was happy to see him, and she took him along the corridor and told him that Mrs. Macpherson is not right now with others in the dining room. She also offered mince pie to the author and took her to Mrs. Macpherson, and along her way she told the narrator that why she had not kept Mrs. Macpherson with the rest of the people, because on this day today she was confused little bit. So she thought that it would be better if she would get a little bit rest rather than being with a crowded family. She has no family, no one visits, so I am sure she'll be only too pleased to see you. She took me into a conservatory with wicker chairs and potted plants all around and left me. Now, she had no family, obviously, so matron was happy and nobody came to visit her. So matron was happy that there was somebody to visit her at least. So the matron was sure that Connie Macpherson would be very pleased. She would be happy to see the narrator. So the matron, she took him to the conservatory. Conservatory is a kind of a glass, kind of a room which is covered with glass. As you can see in the extra word meanings, I have given the meanings of it. With wicker chairs made with wickers, and potted plants all around, and left him. So there was a conservatory. In that particular conservatory, Mrs. Macpherson was kept, and there were wicker chairs and plants around it. The old lady was sitting in a wheelchair, her hands folded in her lap. Now as you can see in the image, okay, the old lady you can see in the image, she is Connie Macpherson, okay, and obviously she is 101 years old, so she is looking like an old lady. So she was sitting on that particular, she was sitting on a wheelchair with her hands folded in her lap. She had silver white hair pinned into a wispy bun. So her hairs were bunned and pinned properly. She was gazing out at the garden. "Hello," I said. She turned and looked up at me vacantly. She was just quietly gazing and looking at the garden. So when the narrator went up to her, he told her hello, and she started looking at the narrator vacantly. Vacantly means like emptily, like she didn't knew. Okay, she had no idea completely that who this person was. "Happy Christmas, Connie," I went on. "I found this. I think it's yours." As I was speaking, her eyes never left my face. So, as soon as the narrator visited Connie Macpherson, he first of all wished him Happy Christmas, and he showed her that black tin box with a letter of her husband in it, and told her that "I found this and I think that it is yours, so I have come here to return it back to you." And as the narrator was speaking all these things, okay, he was trying to tell her how did he got all these things and he has come here to return it back. It felt like Connie was continuously looking at the narrator's face. She was trying to speak something. She was just trying to look at the narrator, and her eyes never left the narrator's face. I opened the tin box and gave it to her. That was the moment her eyes lit up with recognition and her face became suffused with a sudden glow of happiness. So as soon as the narrator opened the tin box and he gave that tin box to her, it was like a moment that her eyes got lit up. It was like that she got reminded of something, and her face was suddenly looking bright with a happiness, the glow of happiness. I explained about the desk, about how I had found it, but I don't think she was listening. So narrator tried to explain her that how did he get this particular desk, from where did he got this particular letter, but the narrator thinks that she was not at all listening. For a while she said nothing but stroked the letter tenderly with her fingertips. So for a while Connie was just quiet. She did not say anything, but she stroked the letter. Means she just felt the letter, touched the letter tenderly with her fingertips. Suddenly she reached out and took my hand. So suddenly what did she do? She took narrator's hand in her hand, and her eyes were filled with tears. You told me you would come home by Christmas, dearest, she said, and here you are, the best Christmas present in the world. Come closer, Jim dear, sit down. So now what happened? Connie Macpherson misunderstood narrator as her husband, Jim Macpherson. On seeing that letter, she thought that the narrator was her husband himself and he had returned back from the war. So that is why she reaches out for the narrator's hand and tells him that she knew that as Jim Macpherson had told her that he would come back home one day, okay, by Christmas. So now he was here, and she thought that it was the best Christmas present in the world because she got her husband back. Come closer, Jim dear, sit down. So she tells the narrator, who she thought was Jim, to come near her and sit down. I sat down beside her and she kissed my cheek. I read your letters so often, Jim, every day. I wanted to hear your voice in my head. It always made me feel you were with me. So then Connie started sharing her feelings with narrator, thinking that he was Jim. So narrator also sat down beside her. He didn't want to upset her by telling her that he was not Jim. So he also continued with whatever she wanted him to do. So narrator sat down beside her and Connie kissed him on his cheek. I read your letters so often. So Connie tells the narrator, means whom she has misunderstood with Jim. She tells him that she reads her letter so often, means उन्होंने उनका लेटर बहुत बार पढ़ा है, वो रोज़ ही पढ़ती हैं, and she wanted to hear her husband's voice in her head because she felt that by doing so she always felt that her husband is somewhere nearby and is with her all the time. And now you are back. You can read it to me yourself. Would you do that for me, Jim dear? I just want to hear your voice again. I would love that so much, and then perhaps we will have some tea. I have made you a nice Christmas cake, marzipan all around. I know how much you love marzipan. So what happens? Now Connie tells Jim that but now you are back. So I want you to read the letter by yourself. I want to hear your voice. So she asked him that whether he would do that for her or not. So she requested Jim to read out this letter for her again so that she can hear her voice, and she would love that so much. And then later on they would have some tea, and she had also made a Christmas cake for Jim with marzipan all around at the top because she knew that Jim Macpherson likes marzipan a lot. So this is how the chapter ends, that Connie misunderstood the narrator as Jim. Although narrator was not Jim himself, but still for Connie it was the best Christmas present in the world because after so many years she got that feeling that she had got her husband back. Okay, everybody clear with it? Now here one more comprehension check and then remaining question answers. Again I will send you a PDF of question answers which you have to note it down in your notebook. The question answers will cover both the comprehension check as well as working with the text question answers. Everybody clear? Now along with the question answers which I will be sending you in a PDF, you have to do two more things as a part of your assignment. First is, as you know that the author of this lesson is Michael Morpurgo. So on your own from the Google you have to find out information about Michael Morpurgo and write author description in your notebook. 5 to 6 lines about the author you have to write it down in your notebook. And second thing, as we have completed the explanation of the whole lesson, you have to write down a short summary of the lesson on your own. That means you have to explain the whole lesson in your own words in a short summary. Everybody clear? I hope you would have understood the lesson well. If any doubts, you can anytime send me a personal WhatsApp message or call me. Stay home, stay safe.